Welcome to the Get Real Podcast, your high-octane boost of full-on reality therapy for personal, business, and investing success with your host, Ron Phillips, because somebody's got to tell it like it is.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Get Real Podcast. Ron Phillips here, owing you guys a full positive podcast, which is going to be easy to do because we're going to talk about real estate today and why people buy it, why they want it, why you should if you don't have any yet. Man, at this point, I have now been speaking about this for over 20 years, and I don't bore. I don't get bored of this. I think in large part because of how incredible real estate has impacted my life and the lives of thousands of people we've been able to help over the years. And it seems like, several times a month, I get to hear stories and talk to people who we've been able to help really create generational wealth and impact, not just for them, but for generations. And man, that is something special. It really is. So today, I wanted to focus on that. And that's why in the last several episodes, I've been a little bit probably, overpassionate, I would say, with some of the things that our government is doing. It's just because I care a lot about this particular topic. I care a lot because selfishly, real estate has done incredible things for me. But I care a lot because I get to see the changes that people have in their lives based on investing in real estate in all of its different forms. It's a phenomenal wealth building tool. And as a matter of fact, short of building a business, I don't think there's anything better than real estate. I'll start with the one that I mentioned last week, just to give you a refresher. And then, of course, if you missed a show, you shouldn't. You should go back and listen. But if you did miss a show, we can start with that one because as I go through these, I just want you to ask yourself, what other asset does even several of these things, let alone all of these things? The first one is you just have 100% control. Now, that's not unique by itself. You can buy gold and stick it in a vault in your house. You have 100% control of that gold. It's sitting there. It's yours, right? You don't have control of stocks. You don't have control of mutual funds, bonds. You just like all that stuff. You don't have control over any of that stuff. A CEO of a company can, get caught doing whatever, and it can impact the value of the company. You didn't do anything. And your asset is impacted. The cool thing about control is that in real estate, at least, you can actually do things. You can do things that impact the value of the property. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you get a home that, like the home that I'm in right now, when we bought this house, it had functional obsolescence, which is a term in the real estate world, meaning this thing is just like old. And the way that they built it isn't conducive to the way that people live their lives today. Functionally, it's not right. So what could I then do? Well, I own it, so I can change it the way that I want it to be. And so we did a bunch of renovations to this place and brought it up to what it should be for the value of the property. You can do that. You can add bedrooms. You can finish basements. These things add value to properties. And so you can impact the value of the property. It's really pretty cool. Now, real estate, long-term hold real estate is what we're talking about here, rental properties. They have a high dividend or cash flow, right? They have a cash flow. And stocks can have dividends as well, but typically, if a stock is a dividend producing stock, it's not really a growth stock. They don't usually go together. But in real estate, they do go together. So you have cash flow coming in, you have a cash on cash return or a dividend. In addition to that, your property is appreciating in value. So you have solid growth potential in addition to a high dividend or a high yield. The more incredible thing about this is the only asset that I know of that you can buy on payments at a fixed rate of interest over a fixed period of time. So, for instance, you can get a 30-year loan with fixed interest rate and fixed payments for 30 years, where you know exactly what you're paying on these things, that somebody else is going to pay off for you. They're going to pay your interest and your principal. That's a remarkable thing. Nobody does that with stocks. I don't think anybody bought the gold that's sitting in your safe we were talking about earlier. Yet in real estate, because we're renting the property out, there's income that's coming in that's paying the expenses, and then you have cash flow above and beyond that. Someone is, in effect, paying down your mortgage every single month. It's awesome. It's awesome. The other really cool thing about real estate is any of the real estate that you would buy for investment purposes, for rental properties, it's never going to be worth a zero. Now, back in 2008, we had some issues with the real estate market, and in many markets, it tanked, sometimes 40, 50%, which is insane. And it hadn't happened in our lifetimes. It's the only time it's happened in our lifetimes. And that's crazy. But some of the companies that people owned stock in just went away. They just went to zero. Can that happen? Yeah, it absolutely can. It did during the 2008 crash. But the real estate didn't go to zero. It dropped. And in some markets, it dropped like a rock. But it didn't go to zero. It didn't go to zero. Were we able to buy houses after that crash for less than replacement cost value? Yes, we were. Yes, we were. And the people who did incredibly well. Generational impact well. Yeah, none of them were worth zero. Didn't ever show up in an auction and say, hey, here's a house for free. That didn't happen. Paid pennies on the dollar, sure, but never paid zero. The other really cool thing about it is that you can insure it against downside risk. And what do I mean about that? Well, there's several different things that you can insure it against. Wind, fire, just like a normal house. But if you get the right policy, which is very important, by the way, we did a show on insurance not too many episodes back that you should go listen to if you haven't, if you missed that one. A lot of people buy investment properties and then you put a homeowner's insurance policy on it, which is not appropriate because there's a lot of things that in a homeowner's insurance policy that don't carry over very well into an investment property insurance. But if you get the right insurance for your property, the cool thing is you can insure against rental loss and all of the other perils that you may have. General liability is generally higher because you can insure against that type of loss as well, liability loss. One of the only assets that you can insure against downside risk, which is really pretty cool. Now, I ought to be done at this point, but I'm not. There's insane tax benefits for these properties. We just had, because of the big, beautiful bill, we have 100% depreciation back for any of the property 15 years and younger on a property, which is a huge tax benefit. There's more to be said there, but I also did a tax episode not very long ago, so I don't want to spend a ton of time in this, but you get income, your property is going up in value, you have all of these other benefits, and the government gives you tax benefits in addition to that. It's very tax advantaged investment. And one of the ones that I think people don't really think about too much, but every single time that you buy a piece of real estate, you're able to get an independent valuation to make sure you're not overpaying for it, and an inspection to make sure that what you're paying for doesn't have a whole bunch of problems. I don't know of any other asset that has that. There are a few of these that other assets have, right? There's stocks that produce dividends. That in and of itself is not unique. But real estate stacks all of these things on top of each other. And nothing compares to real estate because of that stack of all of those different unique things that real estate has that other assets don't have. That is why it is an incredible wealth building tool. And so that's why it's worth fighting for. That's why it's worth your vote. That's why. Now, if you have not invested in real estate yet, and you've been listening to the show for a while, and you want to, but you have questions, concerns, you want to talk to somebody first, email us, invest@rpcinvest.com. We'll be happy to help you. We've helped thousands and thousands of people. And the great thing is that right around 69% of them buy from us again, and then again, and then again. We just helped somebody must be their fifth 1031 exchange, which if you don't know what a 1031 tax deferred exchange is, it's where you get to take a property that's appreciated in value, and instead of paying capital gains on the increase, you get to do a 1031 exchange and defer those taxes. In other words, not interrupt your compounded growth, which is fantastic. It's phenomenal. But must have been her fifth or sixth 1031 exchange. Been helping them since, I think around 2006 or 2007. It's the beginning of the year. You do not have to wait until the end of the year to buy a piece of real estate. And so if you want some help, email us, invest@rpcinvest.com. And if I missed something, you can also email me and let me know, because if I missed something, I want to add it to my list that is ever growing of all of the awesome benefits of investing in real estate. And until next time, get out there and make something happen.
This has been the Get Real Podcast. To subscribe and for more information, including a list of all episodes, go to getrealestatesuccess.com.